Hi there, welcome to Mellow Book Vibes, a cozy little corner for all things books. Whether you're here for book reviews, recommendations, or a chill space to share your love for reading, you're in the right place. Please consider hitting subscribe and leaving a like or comment if you enjoyed the video. Let's get started. Okay, so first I wanted to start off with like an introduction to like my books, so what I read, that kind of stuff. As you can see, this is my bookshelf here. A lot of books are missing because like I have them here ready to like present. So my favorite genres to read are fantasy, romance, thriller, mystery, horror. I haven't really read a lot of horror, but the ones I did read I liked a lot. Some of my favorite author of all time is Natasha Preston. I have like almost all of her books. I have 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 10 of her books, so we're kind of obsessed a bit. But I have The Cellar, I have The Lost, Awake, You Will Be Mine, The Haunting, The Party. This one recently came out, I want to say this year or the end of December, and I have not read it yet. The Fear, The Dare, and The Island. So all great books, love her books like a lot. Best author in my opinion for like thriller and mystery, young adult and stuff. And we also have Victoria Aveyard from the Red Queen series. So I don't have the first 2 books I gave to friends, so those are not in my possession right now, but I'll try to put them somewhere on the screen right now. And then I have King's Cage, War Storm, and Broken Throne. This series I loved like a lot. Best series in my opinion. Just like 5-star series. It's a fantasy, a little bit of romance, but in my opinion, great book series. Highly recommend. So the next author is Karen McManus with the One of Us is Lying series. It's a thriller mystery. Really good. I loved it a lot. Really like, what's the word I'm looking for? Mysterious. Kept me on the edge of my seat. There's One of Us is Lying, One of Us is Next, and One of Us is Back. She also has other books that I really want. They're on my TBR. Like, I can't wait to read them. And then last but not least, we have Lynn Painter with the Better Than the Movie series. She's mainly a romance author. So, the 3 books I have her are romance. I've read this one, have not read the second one, Nothing Like the Movies, and I have not read The Do-Over yet. But they are, we'll read them soon. So next I want to get into my 5-star reads. I honestly, like, all the books I read are usually like 3 to 5 in the rating. I can't remember the last time I read a book like 2 or 1. So I don't know if I'm like biased in some way or something that I don't know, but yeah, most of the books are like 5, 4, but I have them all here. So first we have The Maze Runner. Basically, it's like a sci-fi dystopian kind of book about a group of kids, teenagers around, that are trapped in this like maze practically, and they need to find like a way to escape, get out. Really good book. Give it 5 stars. Then I have The Fear in the Dead by Charlie Higson. They're part of more of like I feel like it's like a less known series, but it's basically a bunch of kids trapped in like a zombie apocalypse, and I liked it a lot. It can be kind of gruesome, so if like you have like a sensitive stomach, I would not read it, but it is really good. Thriller, horror in a way, really good. Then I have Light and Plague by Michael Grant. These are part of the Gone series. Plague is number 4, Light is number 6. And this series is basically about, I feel like this is kind of like a reoccurring theme, but again, it's about another group of young kids, like teenagers around that age, are trapped inside of this dome that magically appears one day, and the adults are teleported outside of the dome, and they have no way of contact with like the outside world, and they're stuck in there for like the series. Then we have You Will Be Mine by Natasha Preston. This book, I read it a little bit ago, so I don't remember a lot of it, but it's basically about this one girl. She is partying with her friends on around Valentine's Day, and her friends are going missing, and they have to try to figure out what's going on around like the town. So yeah, good book. Next I have The Lost. This is basically about there's this one town, a bunch of kids are like disappearing. These two girls end up getting kidnapped, and they find out that these two teenagers are like kind of hosting this torture room game kind of thing, where they're having a bunch of people go through torture for like entertainment reasons. Really good book. There's a lot of plot twists and like kept me on the edge of my seat. And then we have King's Cage and Broken Throne by Victoria Aveyard. Red Queen was also on here, but again, I don't have it, so I'll just like show it in the corner somewhere. But I don't want to give away like too much about what the book is about, because like spoilers. But the first book in like the series is basically about a world where the people are split from reds and silvers based on the color of their blood. Reds are powerless and usually like treated like slaves, while the silvers are nobles with powers and stuff. And the main character is a red, and she must try to navigate her way through the world. And then Broken Throne is part of the series, but it's more of a collection, so it has short stories. Let's see, it has short stories, extra scenes, maps, family trees, flags, and other like additions. So it's not an actual part of the series, but like still kind of part of it. And then we have A Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson, and the third one in the series, As Good as Dead by Holly Jackson. So A Good Girl's Guide to Murder is about this girl named Pip, and she is trying to solve a murder that happened 5 years ago, and as she's solving it, she starts going like deeper into like the mystery, unraveling it. And yeah, great book. So is this one. Don't give away too many details, spoilers. Then we have, these are actually my all-time favorite books like ever. It's They Both Die at the End and The First Who Die at the End by Adam Silvera. They're really sad, had me crying a lot, but it's basically about a world, both of them are like happen in the same world, where there's a company called Deathcast, and they call you to inform you that during the next 24 hours you're gonna die. So the first one, They Both Die at the End, is about two boys, Matteo and Rufus, who both get their call, and they basically go on a journey to like live life until like they die. And then The First Who Die at the End by Adam Silvera is about, again, two boys, Orion and Valentino. Orion has a heart condition, and he like randomly has, I think like, I forgot what they were either like heart attacks, seizures, something like that. And Valentino is like a model who recently moved to New York. So they meet, one of them gets a call from Deathcast, and great book, super sad though, both of them. Then we have How to Survive a Murder by Danielle Valentine. This one I liked a lot. It was really unique. They have a lot of Scream references. I have not watched Scream, but I still know a little bit about it, so I was able to like kind of identify them. But it's basically about a girl whose sister is brutally murdered on Halloween night, and at one point she wakes up to find herself living in the same world but before her sister was murdered, so she has a chance to save her sister. And it had a bunch of plot twists, a bunch of like edge of your seat stuff, so highly recommend it. And then we have One of Us is Back by Karen McManus. This is the third book in the One of Us is Lying series. I just recently read it, honestly, at the start of this year I finished it. And I felt like it was a really good like summary to the whole series, liked it a lot. Basically, the series is about these 4 kids that are in detention, and 5 kids that are in detention, and one of them mysteriously dies, and they try to figure out which of the 4 kids is the culprit. Great mystery thriller book, and yeah, I highly recommend it. Then we have You've Reached Sam by Dustin. I feel bad if I'm gonna get this wrong, but Thao. I don't know how to say that. But it's a super sad book. This book also had me crying. It is about a young girl whose boyfriend dies in a tragic car accident, and she finds out one day that her phone is still connected to him, so when she calls his number, he picks up, and it basically just follows her life of slowly letting him go, and yeah. Super sad though. Then we have Murder Trending by Gretchen McNeil. This book it's part of a series. The Barnes & Noble near me did not have the second book or the third book, just had this one. I have been trying to look for it like everywhere. But it's basically about this prison where prisoners are sent to, and it's kind of like a game show in a way. Like everything that happens there is recorded, and the government has hired killers that go around sometimes killing prisoners and stuff. It's a really kind of tense book. Really interesting. I liked it, a unique concept and everything. Really want to read the other books. Then we have Once Upon a Broken Heart by Stephanie Garber. This book is like a fantasy romance. I personally loved it. Loved the plot, her writing style, the way the characters are written and everything. It's basically about this one girl. She is living in a small town, and she believes in true love, but then it turns out that the man she was dating is getting engaged to her stepsister, so she meets with someone called a fate, which are powerful immortal beings, and she makes a deal with him to stop the wedding, and it ends up going a lot farther than she thought it would. So, leave me on a cliffhanger. Oh, this is also part of a series. I've only read the first one. I want to read the other one soon. Then we have Six of Crows by Leigh Leigh, I don't know how to say that, Bardugo. And it's basically, it's like a thriller mystery fantasy. Takes place in the same world as one of her other books, Shadow and Bone. And it's about a group of 6 outcasts, so thieves, one's a spy, just kind of living on the streets of the world, kind of outcasts, and they get together to form this huge heist, and I loved it. Great book, really tense, yeah. And then we have Better Than the Movies by Lynn Painter. This is a romance, in my opinion, super cute. I loved it a lot. It is about the main character girl. She her childhood crush moves back into her town, and she is obsessed with him, so she makes a plan with her long childhood enemy to find a way to bring the two of them together. And I loved it a lot. Love romance, so this was one of the first romance books that I've read. There's also a second book to it, Nothing Like the Movies. I have that on my shelf right there. I have not read it yet, though. And then this book I don't have it in my possession right now, but Nosferatu by Joe Hill. I read this a while ago, so I don't exactly remember everything that happens in it, but from what I can remember, the main character, she has a power to see hidden objects basically, and she is able to ride her bike into other worlds, and she finds out about this man that's going around kidnapping children, and so it's basically her adventure through that. Sorry, I do not remember it at all. But fun fact, it was written by Stephen King's son, so that's a cool bonus. So now I want to get into books that I am about to read. I have them, but I'm just reading another book at a time. But first I want to just mention this, Mistborn by Brandon Sanderson. I've heard a ton of good things about it. I really want to read it. Like, I feel like the plot could go really good, but I just cannot. Personally for me, it is super, like, slow, and I have not read farther than 200 pages, so I really need to read this. This is one of the few books that I did not finish, so I really need, like, some encouragement to read this. And then currently at the moment, I am reading Powerless by Lauren Roberts. I am only, 79 pages in, but I am loving it so far. I cannot wait to finish it and read, like, the other books in the series. And then to the books that, like, I have but just haven't read yet because, like, haven't gotten to them. Because I prefer to read, like, one book at a time. With the exception, like, if for school I need to read another book or something like that, but mostly I try to read one book at a time. So I have some books, I've thrifted some books that I don't really know a lot about, and I have never, like, heard of them before, but the cover looked interesting. They were super cheap, so I got them. First, we have All the Demons Are Here by Jake Tapper. This one was a thrifted book. We have Super Notes by Agent Casper and Luigi Carletti. We have 3 Seconds by Rosalind and Hellstrom. All of these are thrifted. And then we have I'm Not a Serial Killer by Dan Wells. This book, it wasn't, because usually the books that I buy from, like, Barnes & Noble or shopping are on my TBR, and I just, like, see them and I'm like, alright, I should get them. This one was not on my TBR at all. I just saw it and thought it would be interesting, so I got it. And then I have The Champions by Kara Thomas. I got this book a little while ago, but I did not know that it was the sequel to The Cheerleaders by Kara Thomas. And so now I have to get The Cheerleaders first to read it because I cannot, like, just start in the middle of a series. We have The Words We Keep by Erin Stewart. This book, got it honestly pretty recently, I think this year. And so yeah, excited to read it. I have Heroes of Olympus by Rick Riordan. I do not know how to say his name. I feel like I butchered that completely. But this book I also did not know was part of, like, the Percy Jackson Son of Neptune series, maybe. I do not know a lot about the Percy Jackson series. I really want to read it. And yeah, I feel like I just butchered not only his name, but, like, stuff about it. I'm sorry. And then we have The Party by Natasha Preston. Love her. Everyone loves Natasha Preston. Nothing Like the Movies by Lynn Painter. The Do-Over, also by Lynn Painter. We have The Dragon's Promise by Elizabeth Lim. And this book sounded interesting, but turns out that I think it's part of a series as well. So I started reading it, got super confused, and then Googled it, and then realized that I bought, like, the second one, I think, in the series. So I need to get the first one. The River We Remember by William Kent Kruger. This book was thrifted. It's going to be the first, when I do read it, it's going to be the first historical fiction that I read. So I am looking forward to it, I guess, whenever I get to it. I have The Reappearance of Rachel Price by Holly Jackson. Excited for this. I've heard, like, a bunch of great things about it. I have Invisible City by Julia Dahl. I don't know how to say the last name. This book was also thrifted, so I don't know much about it. Looked cool, so I got it. We have The Cruel Prince by Holly Black. This book, obviously, I don't know, like, if you guys know, but it's all over Book Talk. Everywhere I see it, along with, like, other popular books. So I just really wanted to read it, so I will get to that eventually. And then, last but not least, I have The Naturals by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. And this is the same author that wrote The Inheritance Games. If anyone's read that, I personally have not read that yet, but I want to. So now I want to get into more of, like, book hobbies and, like, things related to books that aren't, like, exactly books. So first, I use a lot of tracking websites to record like the data for my books. My main one is Notion, and I'm not like a big user of Notion. I don't know like everything about it, all its features, but from what I do use, like which is like the basics, I like it a lot. It has a lot of different features, a lot of ways to like record your books and data like that. I think someone who like really knows how to do it, it's like it would be really useful for like productivity and all that stuff. Personally, I use it for my books. I also use Goodreads. So my Goodreads account is littlefunky13, capital L, capital F. I'll put that somewhere on the screen. And then I also use Storygraph, and my handle for Storygraph is littlefunky13, all lowercase. And so both of those I use to track my book reading. Just find me on there, send me a friend request. I'll most likely accept it. And then something I also do is I enjoy to annotate some of my books. I have not annotated a lot of them. So far I've only annotated Better Than the Movies by Lynn Painter and Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo. And Six of Crows I'm not exactly proud of because it was the first book I ever annotated. And my annotations are cute, but with the tags I put them so they were all the way out instead of more in, like with Better Than the Movies. So putting it on the shelf, they bend a lot, and I'm not exactly proud of it. But basically what I do with my annotations is I make a key somewhere near the front, and then I just like have the tabs. The tabs are what like, so if my key is like, oh, happy, blue, sad, green, the tabs are like the colors that like choose which one of like the emotions it is. So I usually track based on like the emotions they make me feel, or like if they're important or something like that. So, and then with the actual like text, I just usually, let me find a good page. I usually just like highlight it, underline it sometimes, and yeah. And then with Better Than the Movies, I also included, this is my key. As you see, I have love, sad, banner, angry, and true, which is like relatable things that they say. I have not finished annotating it yet. As you can see, I still have like this whole chunk to go. But I also made a cute kind of like cover art page for the book. So yeah, and then my annotating like kit, I have these little highlighter tabs. I have these, super cheap, super cute, I guess. And then I have these, which are like solid colors, and they have like more options. With my highlighters, these are just cheap highlighters from Walmart. I recommend to not get highlighters that can bleed through, and they're just like kind of, you don't want bold neon colors unless like you obviously do want them, but personally I like kind of like the softer, duller colors. So I have orange, pink, green, yellow, blue, and purple. And then I also have just a standard pen that I use to like underline. And of course a protractor to make my lines straight. And then another hobby that I do is, I've seen this like some places on like Pinterest and things like that, where people make tiny book jars that are basically their bookshelf but just in like tiny form. So I tried some of that. Mine are not the best because I don't know how to do them properly, so I just have a foam board that I cut out. I print out the pictures of the books, cut those out as well, and then use sticker paper to glue them on. So like this one is a good girl's guide to murder. Kind of cute, tiny. I have it on both sides, so if you flip it around, you're able to like see it. And I do not have all of my books yet, but I have like a good chunk of them in here. So, fun hobby. Yeah, that's basically it. So that sums up my video. I'm so happy if you're still watching that you stayed until the end. Please consider subscribing, leaving a like, comment down below any like questions, clarification, anything you want me to improve on, book recommendations, just everything if you like the video, obviously. And yeah, see you later.